Welcome, everyone. Let's just jump right in. Today's explainer is all about unpacking the massive, cyclical nature of time in ancient Jain cosmology. We're talking about a framework of the universe that is so incredibly immense, it's going to completely rewire how you think about human history, our day-to-day lives, and literally the distant future. To wrap our heads around these massive concepts, we're going to do a sort of cosmic zoom. We'll start big with 1, the infinite wheel, then explore 2, the descending eras, and 3, the 24 spiritual guides. Then we zoom all the way into our current reality to ask 4, where are we now, before panning back out to 5, the ascending eras. All right, section 1, the infinite wheel. So, unlike Western concepts of a straight, linear timeline, a strict beginning and a definitive end, Jain texts treat time totally differently. It's an unceasing, repeating circle called the Kalachakra. No beginning whatsoever, no end. It's just this eternal mechanism governing the entire universe, constantly turning. And that eternal loop is split right down the middle into 2 distinct phases. Think of it as an endless cycle of rising and falling conditions for the entire world. Let's break those 2 halves down. The descending phase is called Avasarpini. This is where things like joy, spirituality, morality, and even human lifespan slowly, gradually decline over unimaginable stretches of time. But then, on the flip side, you have Utsarpini, the ascending phase. In this half, those exact same qualities, happiness, physical strength, morality, they all start improving and rise back up to a state of absolute perfection. Down and up, over and over again. Let's look a little closer at section 2, the descending eras. Now, before we look at these specific eras, or eras as they're called, we really have to grasp the scale here because it is honestly staggering. The texts use a unit of measurement called a sagarapam for these early eras. That literally translates to an ocean of years. We are not talking thousands or even millions of years here. This is a time frame so incredibly vast, it pretty much completely defies standard human calculation. Okay, so with that crazy scale in mind, here's how the descent starts. During the first 2 super long eras, Sukma and Sukma, humanity is basically living in an absolute paradise. The texts describe people living under these wish-fulfilling trees called kalpavrikshas. 0 sorrow, 0 disease, no labor whatsoever. That first era alone lasts for 4 koti sagaropam, 4 oceans of years. Well, the wheel turns. And by the 3rd era, Sukma Dukma, a slow decline starts, and a tiny bit of sorrow enters the world, shifting the balance even further by the 4th era. Moving right along to section 3, the 24 spiritual guides. Right in the middle of all these shifting cycles, there is an endless tradition of 24 Tirthankaras. These are enlightened spiritual guides. They show up specifically to teach the path of liberation, known as moksha. And the fascinating part? They don't appear when everything is totally perfect, and they don't show up when all is completely lost. They arrive exactly when humanity actually needs that bridge of spiritual guidance. And their timing is incredibly specific. For our current cycle, the very first guide, Bhagwan Rishabhadev, also known as Adanath, appeared near the end of that 3rd era, just as that effortless wish-fulfilling paradise was starting to fade. The other 23 guides, ending with the absolutely pivotal Bhagwan Mahavir Swami, all appeared throughout the 4th era. They essentially anchored religion and ethics to help souls navigate a world that was getting noticeably tougher. Which brings us to the big question in section 4. Where are we now? To answer that, the whole scale of measurement shifts dramatically. We drop from those infinite oceans of years, the sagarapams, to a highly specific, shockingly short span of exactly 21,000 human years. In the grand scheme of the Kalachakra, 21,000 years is literally just a blink of an eye. According to the source texts, you and I are living right now in the 5th era, known as Dukma. Dukma translates to an era of sorrow. It's a 21,000-year period defined by a real dominance of sorrow, heavy materialism, and a huge decline in true religious practice. Sounds pretty much exactly like our modern urban life, right? Traffic, skyscrapers, heavy pollution. And this isn't just some vague philosophical epoch. The texts actually pinpoint the exact historical start of our current era. It officially kicked off roughly 3.5 years, specifically 3 years and 8.5 months after the passing or nirvana of the 24th Tirthankara Mahavir Swami. So think about that for a second. All of our recorded human history, all our empires, our modern civilizations, our tech advancements, all of it is stuffed into the very beginning stages of this brief fifth aura. And honestly, the trajectory in this descending Avasarpani half just keeps going down. Once our 21,000-year Dukmaman era eventually wraps up, we hit absolute rock bottom in the sixth era, called Dukmama Dukma. That's another 21,000-year stretch, but it's an age of supreme ignorance, extreme pain, the total loss of religion, and absolute sorrow. The physical world becomes super harsh, and human lifespans get tragically short. Okay, Section 5, the Ascending Eras. I know that last part sounded pretty bleak, but remember, the fundamental rule we established at the start of this explainer, the Kalachakra is a wheel. Rock bottom is literally just the start of the climb back up. So we cross the bottom of the wheel and swing right into the Utsarpini half, the ascending cosmic cycle. The timeframes here perfectly mirror the descent, just in reverse. The seventh aura starts harsh, lasting 21,000 years. But it's a recovery period where that extreme sorrow starts to finally end. The eighth aura is another 21,000 years of lessening sorrow. And then, boom, we expand dramatically back into those unfathomable oceans of time. The ninth and 10th auras stretch out over millions upon millions of years, bringing back physical peace, prosperity, and pure joy. And the symmetry of it all is just perfect. Just like guides showed up when things got dark on the way down, a brand new set of 24 future Tirthankaras will miraculously manifest in the 10th aura of the ascending cycle. As the world heals and prepares to return to paradise, they'll appear to reestablish religion, ethics, and public welfare, teaching the path to liberation to a whole new era of souls. Seeing the detailed grid of our human eras next to the massive, unbroken cosmic loop really drives the essence of Jain cosmology home. It is an unbelievable reminder of scale. Our brief, kind of sorrowful 21,000-year era is really just a fleeting, totally necessary dip in this endless, repeating mechanism of infinite proportion. It really puts your daily anxieties into a completely different perspective, doesn't it? Which brings us to our final thought for today. If we stop looking at history as this straight line rushing towards some final, ultimate end, and instead see it as a vast, breathing, eternal cycle, how does that change the way you view our modern struggles? Does the chaos of the present feel maybe a little less overwhelming? Anyway, thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep asking those big questions, and I'll catch you in the next one.